Hello, welcome to, look at that, but haven't actually got enough money to put batteries into, but that's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, so we're here. I'm sorry I couldn't get it to you earlier. I was unable to film yesterday due to noise from my neighbours out enjoying themselves in the sun, making noise, enjoying themselves. Anyway, let's crack on. First question is from Paula. Paula, what's your question?
What are the 3 best websites to find open auditions?
Good question, Paula. I can't give you 3 websites. There are 2, really. The first one is spotlight.com, but to get on Spotlight you have to have representation in order to do that. And the other one is mandy.com. There are other ones out there. I wouldn't touch them personally. And as regarding any open audition, run it past me first of all, because some are really good, some are worth going for. Ideally you need to have a very, very good photo and a show reel, but you know, come on to another time. So that's it. So mandy.com, I receive no money for saying that several times, and spotlight.com if you've got representation. Thank you. What's that? What, another? Oh, it's got another question.
What's your favourite joke, Matt?
Paula, right. Here's one for you. Little Timmy, yeah, he's out playing with his friends. He's only 10, top of the hill. He's got to be back by 5:30. And you know what it's like? I want to drag it out as much as possible. 5:29, he thinks, I'll be fine. Gets on his bike, he starts hurtling down this hill. Doesn't see this car that's reversing out. It's the car off over the roof like that, way through the air. Anyway, so they're at the hospital. There's Mrs. Timmy, little Timmy's mum. And the doctors come out of surgery and say, well, I'm sorry, it's not great news. Little Timmy, he's broken both of his arms, so we've had to strap them down. He's broken several ribs, his collarbones. He has shattered his jaw into several places. We've had to wire that up, and he has a suspected fractured neck because of the damage to his throat. He can't swallow, so because of that we have had to, I'm even sounding like a doctor, but because of that we've had to get a tube into little Timmy's tummy, and we have to feed him that way. And Mrs. Timmy, she's distraught. This is what she would look like, distraught. She doesn't know what to do. So all night she's by his bed. Next morning the doctors come around, get to little Timmy's bed. They pick up the sheet at the end of the bed now. They look at Mrs. Timmy, who's sitting there now. They look at Miss Timmy and say, I'm sorry, there's no sign of any improvement. Oh, Mrs. Timmy, she's in bits. Next day she's there all day, Mrs. Timmy. She had a break, got a coffee, and, but most of the time she spent next to her child. You would if your parent cared. And doctors come around, doing their little walk around, how are you, blah blah blah, get to little Timmy's bed, lift up the sheet. I'm sorry, Mrs. Tim, there's still no sign of any improvement. Anyway, the third day, Mrs. Timmy's not there because she had to do something at work that morning. She couldn't get any time off work. So what she did, she asked her mum to go along. So Timmy's grandma is now sat at his bedside, and the doctors are up doing their little walk around, and just out of the corner of their eye, they just look down the end of the ward, and little Timmy's like this. He's like that. Right, and they go rushing down there. Oh no, what's going on? They're checking all the machines, blah blah blah. So what's wrong? And his grandma goes, oh no, there's nothing wrong, dear. No, I've just given him a toffee. Stop it, shush. Thank you. All right. Didn't say it was funny, did I? Okay. Liberty has 18 questions. 18, that's what it looks like. Crikey. Oh, honestly. Liberty, what's your question?
Hi Matt, my question for you this week is, how have you seen casting change within the industry throughout your career? So like in terms of how self-tapes are becoming more apparent in the industry, or in terms of ethnicity and diversity, and how that has altered throughout your career? How have you seen it change, both from an actor and also from working with London Film School and UCA for short films?
How has casting changed? The biggest change is definitely self-tapes, so which I personally like. For those of you that have done self-tapes with me, you can definitely see the advantages of it. In terms of the money that you save going in and out. I would say with self-tapes, if it is like a UK casting, I think you can just about get away with it if you to use your iPhone. Make sure your lighting's right base. So I've got a light over there, I've got a light down there, I've got a little light up there. So get your 3-point light and do the best you can. Make sure it's locked onto a tripod like that, and shoot at the highest resolution you possibly can. If it is for like an American pilot, then I would recommend you go to a studio and get it filmed on a professional camera. They really do expect quite a high level. As with all these things, you want to look the best that you possibly can. So you need good sound, you need good lighting and what have you. The other things that have changed in the industry is definitely the money has dropped, and the reason for that is, whereas the BBC used to make their own stuff, they now sort of put those jobs out to tender. Other companies come in, obviously the cheaper they can possibly do it at, and that knocks everything down. There's loads of producers, so really as an agent you can't really fight for your client to get extra money. I mean, obviously if you're a name, that's fine, but it's all about certain levels of budgets. For the LFS and the UCA, regarding the casting and how that's affected, well, there's a lot of, they call it stunt casting. So basically what they do is they will maybe choose an ethnicity first and an agenda, and that will be their main drive. The good thing about that is it does obviously still include everybody in it, but that tends to be, they're looking at that first of all, whereas they try and fit that to the story, where it was always before it was a story to that. With new writers, I think that's making a difference. There's much more work for BAME actors than there ever was before. I would say that's the only real trend. The best example of it is if you look at adverts on TV, because adverts can be made really within about 6 weeks, whereas a TV show, it might take 6 months to 12 months to get on air. Because commercials have got such a quick turnaround, if you look at now how families are presented on television, it is much more diverse. Right, so it has widened the pool on that one. The money for adverts has definitely dropped. There's a lot more buyouts, whereas you used to get paid per performance. I think there's only, it's between about 5,000 if it's going online, £10,000 if it's online, and for TVC. When you start adding things like cinema and radio, and then the money goes up. But like the worldwide ones, so you're lucky enough to get an advert that does that, they're about 40 grand, whereas before they would have been about between 60 and 100 grand. So yeah, so that is a massive change. The other way that casting has changed, apart from the self-tape side of it, is a lot more, the producers have got a lot more say in it than they ever did before. The director will always be king or queen. They will always have the final decision, because that is and should be their decision, because they're putting their cast together for that. But the process leading up to it is much difficult. But I'm going to touch on that later on, because there's another question from one of the students, from Isha. Yes, Isha, it exists. Good news. So yeah, hopefully that's answered your questions, Liberty. Yeah, now Kira and Lana. Hello Lana, welcome to the party. I know you said party, but a bit sad, isn't it? And it's not really a party, so I'm still sat in my shed. Kira and Lana, your questions please.
First question is, if you had to pick any
Film that came out in 2019
in 2020, what film
would you have liked directed? If you had to recommend an acting school
or college, what one would you pick?
What film would I like to have directed for 2019? Absolutely. There's a film called Knives Out, and it's just a really good thriller. And what's so good about it is you can just see all the actors are having a really, really good time enjoying playing their roles. And I think just to work with that many actors who are all at the top of their game would be a real privilege. But if you look at something like 1917, which is trying to be like the one shot in the trenches, really that's Roger Deakins' film, I think. Although Mendes was the man and the idea behind it, it's so wonderfully technical that he'll probably get an Oscar for that, but I would say that's Roger Deakins' film. So as a director, that's really, really technical. I prefer working with actors, really, when it comes to the directing side of things. As for a film this year, I'm looking forward to Bond coming out. There's a couple, but we're going to have to wait and see when they do actually come out, because obviously with what's happened, everything's been delayed. So that's that one. Right, now then, drama schools. Okay, now, those of you that know and those of you that don't know, I went to the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School and I did the 3 years acting course. Really, when I was thinking about training, there were a few university courses, but it was always go to a recognised drama school. Now, there's something called the Conservatoire of Dance and Drama, and that is an organisation that they deem the best schools are. The only drama school that is in that conservatoire is the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School. Just saying. Then you get Rambert, Royal Ballet, then you got sort of Royal College of Music and what have you. So they are at the top of their game. So always aim as high as you possibly can. Everybody's heard of RADA. I would not recommend RADA at the moment for the next 5 years. They're not doing well, and they're not doing well because they're not retaining good staff. There's a bit of a culture of fear there amongst the students, and yeah, the reports I've heard out of RAD are not good. Although everybody's heard of it, the industry have heard other things, and that's what I will say. Lambda, still very, very good, very good school. You don't just have to do the musical theatre there now. They've really, they're good. Welsh College, all right, always had a good reputation. And another one is called Mountview, that has always had a good reputation as well. And finally, East 15. All right, really, well, East 15 when I was training, it was also like the edgier sort of school. And it was always they were sort of like the first to get the hang around, get the head around. Doing film and TV training. I had at Bristol. I had about a 40-minute lesson on acting for camera, and when I left that school, all I ever did was TV and film. Yeah, so it's amazing what you can learn in 40 minutes. Don't tell your parents that, who've been sending you to me. That is not thunder. That is. We're going to wait. We're going to wait for that. It's one actually my neighbour. Thor. It's my neighbour. Jeez, what's going on? So that's a body. It's a bit awkward, isn't it? We haven't seen her for a while. We don't know what's. Anyway, right. But yeah, drama schools. The reason why I don't recommend universities is because universities are quite new to the game. The other problem is it costs so much to train actors. If you go to university, you might only have classes that total between 6 and 8 hours a week. If you're training to be an actor, you need to be doing between 38 and 45 hours a week, plus your reading performances. So theatre schools and drama schools are really set up for this. Universities aren't. Also, and this is the absolute stark reality of it, you go to drama school, so you try and set your heights as high as you possibly can. You come out of a drama school. When you come out of drama school, you do your showcase, and your showcase is you would normally have a minute to 2 minutes to do a piece on your own, where everybody's looking at you. Then they will show excerpts from different shows and what have you. And good drama schools will get good agents and good casting directors to go. So they will be based around London. It doesn't matter if you're at the Welsh College or Bristol, because they do the shows in London, but people go to that every year. They put their points in their diary, and because these people are busy, they really don't actually have the time to go and do another 50 other some university you know, in another part of the country. So really, when they can get there, sort of like the pick of the crop, that would be my answer. If you're going to train at a proper drama school, if you want to be an actor. If you want to just learn other skills, yeah, you can do it at university, but you are making your career harder for yourself by not going to a set drama school. That's that answer. So I hope that helps you too. But you're already doing a really, really good thing by going to Super 8 State Screen School. Yeah, thank you very much. Bye. Maya.
My question for you is, what is the most ridiculous fact you know?
Yeah, right. 2 facts. Theatrical. 1, the Palace Theatre in London, which has now got Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and because of the nature of that, because of fire regulation, this has now changed. But up until that show was there, the Palace Theatre, you know the theatre seats, you know when you stand up they flip up, so you can walk in long easily and get past it cover, and then you forget it and then you end up on the floor with the popcorn. But the Palace Theatre permanently bolted down 2 seats in the seated position for the resident ghosts. There were a couple of Edwardians who were ghosts, and they would watch, sit when everybody else had gone, and they would see them. So everybody was turned when lighting and all with the license out, because their job to turn off the house lights proper. And the stage manager walking around, they would often look over and see the figure of 2 ghosts sat in those chairs, and that's a true fact. Another true fact, a theatrical fact, is since 1666, which I believe if my history serves me correct, was the Great Fire of London, the Globe Theatre, the new Globe Theatre that Sam Wanamaker built, is the only building in London allowed to have a thatched roof. How do I know that is a fact? My father used to run quite a large building company down in Devon, and when Sam Wanamaker was looking for people to put money into it, his company did that. So they made some donations to it, because he's always been fascinated by old buildings. And for my birthday, I was either 10 or 12, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I got a certificate from my dad, and I opened it up, and it was basically, he'd bought me a bale of straw to go on the roof of the Globe Theatre. My brother got a Lego Technics, yeah, but no, I get straw. I got straw. Yeah, brilliant. Of course, it's not there anymore, is it? So yeah, thanks, Dad. But in fact, Globe Theatre is the only theatre with straw on its roof, and a little bit of it was mine. Never forgiven him. Never forgiven him. Josie.
Hi Matt, my question is, if you could invite 4 people to a dinner party, dead or alive, who would you choose?
Yeah, good. 4 people. Right, I had to think about this. The first one is Margaret Rutherford. Your parents probably know who Margaret Rutherford is. She played Agatha Christie. She was just a really lovely actress, did some really great films, won an Oscar actually, and anything she did, any of her films she did, it was just really joyous, and I just love to hear about her. She came to the business later on in life. I would just really love to hear the tales, because of all the people that she worked with around the time. It's all, the old Pinewood Studios, all those sort of movies, all the black and white films, which I just adore. Really sort of old English. I would love to hear what her tales. Okay. The other one I'd like to invite to my party of 4, just drinks and nibbles really, I'm not cooking, would be Charlie Chaplin. For exactly the same reason. I would just love to hear the tales of how he just revolutionised cinema, and how he was just such a beautiful sort of silent movie actor. He really just, he underplayed everything to make that decision, and then, because other people like Howard Lloyd and what have you, but he was just amazing, and he was also very instrumental, I believe, in sort of setting up the studio system, which was a bit more pro the actors and what have you. But yeah, definitely Charlie Chaplin. Another one I would like to invite is Phoebe Waller-Bridge, because she's just clearly very smart, Really, really, the stuff that she's churned out at her age is just phenomenal, really. I know she's very in vogue at the moment, but just whenever you see it, she just seems like a really down to, and she just enjoys life. So I'd like to smell that at my party. She can bring the crisps. And finally, Robert Pattinson. Now he did that werewolf franchise, whatever it was called, but he moved away from that. Didn't hear anything from him for a while. Then he went to indie films, and he did some really, really good indie films. And now he's got the Batman. So he was in a huge franchise, went away, did some indies, and he's made the decision to sort of come back. And what a thing to come back in as Batman. I mean, I just love to sit down and listen to him. I mean, imagine that decision. That is a big decision. A bit like, you know, taking on something as iconic a role as that, you know. So yeah, so those are the 4 people I would like to invite round to mine for drinks and nibbles. Thank you very much. Oh, Tommy, T-Dog, Isha, T-Dog.
Hi Matt, my question to you is, have you starred in anything exciting?
Everything I've ever been in, mate. Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't go up in a scene against me. Yeah, everything. Didn't even have to be the lead, right? Everything. If you Google my name, IMDb, it's all there. It's all there. No, that's not true. Well, it is true, but it's not true. That's not my attitude. The other answer is, I haven't starred in anything. I've just been a working actor, you know. That's me. That's me. But yeah, I think I'm not very nearly was a lead in a film, but the film didn't get the financing, which was a shame. Not my fault. I thought it was a great film, but yeah, I very nearly was the lead. But I think you only ever judge yourself by your sort of like the casting. Actually, this is a good point. This is a good point. It's something the Americans do, and we don't really do enough in this country. But when you are putting down your credits, put down whether you are lead. So for commercials, if you're the lead, it's called hero. All right. But if a TV, theatre, what have you, theatre, you would put the name of the character, but you would put lead or co-star or supporting artist. It just sort of helps. It just helps span out, because really when people look at your CV, they'll just see how much you've done, all right, and then it's the relationship they have with your agent, and then you get called in either for the safe tape and what have you, which is going to lead me on to the next question. So yeah, Tommy, everything and nothing, because the thing with acting is you are always the last ones hired. You're also always the last ones to turn up on set, and you're always the first to leave. So you're not special, you are only part of a team, although I was special. Thank you, Tommy, thank you. Now, leading on from that, Ellen, good question. I've said it, it's a good question. You haven't heard the question, it is good. Ellen.
Hi Matt, I just wanted to ask, what do you think is the worst thing you can do in an audition? And have you ever done that?
I told you that was a good question. Thank you, Ellen. Right, the one thing you do not do in an audition is you walk into that room or you sit in that waiting room outside and you try and get the job. Can't think of it like that. You can't be thinking, oh, this is a really good job, it's going to change my career, I really, really hope I get it, I could do with that money, blah, 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 blah. No, don't. Just go in there and just enjoy yourself. Look at it as a chance to perform. I always say that rather than show somebody you can act or you are an actor, go in a room and show them how much you love being an actor or how much you love acting. Right? Take it that. As soon as you walk in that room, forget about it. All right. When you've been doing it long enough, you'll notice when you're sitting in the waiting room, the ones that are reading a newspaper, they're really, really calm and relaxed. They're not too chatty. They're not talking about this or that. They're just waiting to go in there and they're just enjoying it. They're just enjoying it. So when I first started out, I definitely thought, oh, I really, really, really want this job. And then I'd walk out the room and I think, oh, I wish I'd said this. I wish I'd done that now. You know, I wish I kept my trousers on. But it was basically change your attitude to just that you're walking in the room just to enjoy yourself and to show them that you're enjoying yourself, if that makes sense. But there you go. Oh, another thing I used to do was I used to tell my agent, I never asked them to tell me how much money the job was, because I never wanted that to make a difference to my performance, because whether it's a $5,000 or $50,000, you should still be given the same performance. So there you go. Cheers, Ellen. I'm going to stop now because there's a plane going over. Honestly, it's supposed to be lockdown.